We're back at Disneyland. Here you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. This general area in and around the Matterhorn and Autopia has always had a little bit of an identity crisis. Are we part of Tomorrowland on the futuristic freeways, or are we part of Fantasyland, where every kid's fantasy of driving comes true? Of course, the futuristic monorail now travels through both lands, but when Disneyland first opened, there was no monorail here. There was actually a little train called the Viewliner train, the futuristic train of tomorrow. Not only that, but there was a smaller version of the Autopia called the Midget Autopia.
That's not politically correct.
In 1957, another attraction similar to Autopia opened up here on the border between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. It was called the Motorboat Cruise, and what it was basically another version of Autopia, but with, you guessed it, motorboats. Every child's dream of operating their own motorboat came true right here at Disneyland. Yeah, it's the Motorboat Cruise. Oh wait, different boats. By 1959, a lot had changed. The Matterhorn was rising up over Fantasyland. The monorail was added to Disneyland. The Viewliner was torn out and replaced. Midget Autopia was gone. Autopia was rerouted and changed and expanded. But luckily, being on the borderlands between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland had its advantages for the Motorboat Cruise, and the Motorboat Cruise survived. Right across from the Matterhorn over here is a little area where you can have your name painted with some fairy princess style art. And of course now we have Edelweiss snacks here where you can get a chimichanga or a turkey leg.
$5.99.
Hungry. Smells delicious. Right past Edelweiss snacks, right under the monorail tracks, are the last remnants, the forgotten remains of the Motorboat Cruise. This area was the loading platform. You can see this futuristic roof remains. Secret motorboat stuff.
I'm drowning, help me.
You would get into your boat here, and over here was a little maintenance dock where they could fix the boats. From this dock, you would journey out into little canals and rivers that would wind underneath the monorail tracks around the Autopia. You could wave to the kids.
A motorboat cruise, a motorboat cruise.
There were hazardous rocks and ducks. Hazard ducks. Hazard ducks are hazardous. But luckily, to the relief of many a mom and dad, the steering wheel didn't do anything and you were actually on a metal track. The safety of parameters. Come back around and park your motorboat. Motorboats sound like brrr. Now, other than hazard ducks, Autopia cruisers, monorail, and some beautiful landscaping, there wasn't really much scenery to the motorboat ride. Pretty straightforward. You get in a boat, you cruise around some canals, you get off the boat. Pretty easy. Until the 1990s. Disney was in the middle of their successful run of Disney Afternoon, and part of Disney Afternoon was the Gummy Bears show. So in 1991, Disney rethemed this whole ride to a Gummy Bears theme called Motorboat to Gummy Glen. As part of the changes, they added some plywood figures of your favorite gummy bears making gummy juice. Yay! How exciting! Perhaps as a result of their lack of vision, the Motorboat Cruise to Gummy Glen wasn't all that popular. Let's be honest, they didn't have very good imaginations in '91. Eventually in 1993, Disneyland opened up their new expansion, Toontown. I was actually here on opening day of Toontown. I was a student at Disney Elementary School, so they invited us to check it out on opening day. I actually met Michael Eisner right here. And as I was leaving and coming towards the Motorboat Cruise, I discovered, alas, it was closed. Gummy Bears fans were bummed. Turns out when they opened Toontown, they decided their budget for cast members was better spent on staffing Toontown itself than staffing the, let's face it, kind of unpopular by now, Motorboat Cruise. Psh, like this is cooler than a motorboat ride. The strange thing was, they left the ride pretty much intact. The canals were still here, the track was still here under the water, the dock was and still is here, just out of reach. Disney just didn't know what to do with it. For a while, this dock was even a smoking area. Hey little boy, I heard you got some smokes. Sometime around 2010, the track was finally taken up from underneath the water. This area was roped off and closed off. They re-landscaped it and filled in some of the canals with some more landscaping. And all hope of returning to these waters for a motorboat cruise were lost. Do you miss the motorboat ride, guys? I do.
Bet that kid wishes he could motorboat.
Yes, operator, I'd like to book a motorboat cruise.
This little covered dock is now just used as an underpopulated seating area for Edelweiss snacks over there, and for a little undercarriage view of the monorail. Kind of a nice little getaway from the crowd sometimes. What the heck is that?
That's no duck. You're no duck.
Duck thing! What happened to the gummy bears, huh? Where they at? No longer a smoking area. The loading dock remains here as a reminder of what was every child's fantasy, a motorboat cruise. I found a penny and part of a shoelace. Shoelace and a penny.
Almost like finding pure gold.
So next time you can't decide whether you want to be in Fantasyland or Tomorrowland or Fantasyland or Tomorrowland or Tomorrowland or Fantasyland, come out here to the dividing line on the former dock for the motorboat cruise, enjoy some ducks, take a break, maybe have a chimichanga over there, and just relax in the tranquil, quiet scenery and remember the motorboat cruise. And as a memory, I'm now going to throw this penny into there and wish I might have a motorboat cruise someday or night. So worst ending ever for a video? But I've decided, I've made up my mind, I'm gonna go to one of the lands and ride some rides now, catch up with the fam. I'll catch up with you guys later. Make sure you subscribe for some not so nautical anymore adventures. Check out some of our other videos, check out our website at Live Fast Die Poor, and if you see me out here, say hi! All right, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Nope, close it up, guys. We're gonna need you back at the motorboat ride. Make sure you subscribe. People loved to motorboat out here. Jack Sparrow.
Looks like gummy bears were the last straw.